Hello, my name is Andre Veskimeister and I'm the founder of Parcel Lockers Central. Today's guest is Lauren Melton from GroundFloor, Australia. So, hi Lauren, how are you doing today?
Hello there. I'm doing great. 7 p.m. in Melbourne on a day that looks like Amsterdam in winter.
Absolutely, we have 30 centimeters of snow, so we have a little bit different circumstances outside. But anyway, you have been in quite warm places for all of your life. You transitioned your life from warm San Francisco to even warmer Australia to establish and co-found parcel locker delivery company GroundFloor there. Tell me, how did this happen and why this kind of change?
Well, look, I did my graduate school work in San Francisco, and that was during the time when people like Steve Jobs, that some of you might have heard of, were becoming popular, and Bill Gates and so on. And it was that time when everyone was super excited about the startup environment, and I did some early work in that time frame. And I even worked on some very early 2D codes at the time. So what we now know as a very familiar QR code. And so I worked on other people's business plans. I worked on some startups within big companies, and look, I just got the bug, I guess. And then life actually took me to Australia for different reasons. So I didn't come to Australia to do parcel lockers, but I did start investing in other people's businesses when I came to Australia. So I was part of a group called Scale Investors, investing in other people, supporting them, sitting on boards and so on. And that's where I met my business partner in GroundFloor, Lynn Thornton. And so one day we just said to each other, we keep investing in other people's businesses. Why don't we invest in ourselves? And really, that was the formation of the idea that we would do something together. And after looking at the world, looking at the micro and macro factors, looking at our home market and global markets, we settled on parcel lockers as something that was really necessary and missing in Australia.
I heard the story that the business idea for the ground floor started from the paper note. Sorry, I missed you. A missed delivery note, and you figured out the business need for parcel lockers through that event. Is it true?
Yes, that's true. So I'm an industrial engineer. I don't like queuing, and so between my bias toward wanting everything completely efficiently, and also having three daughters who were crazy shoppers, we were spending too much time in queues. So that was definitely a driver. Um, Absolutely. But what we decided once we kind of narrowed down the field was, well, we had to come up with a product, of course. So we looked at hardware options across the globe, looked at what people were doing in other markets, other business models. We researched software partners, and we had to bring something together to create this solution for our market. Um, and ultimately we were the first to bring that courier agnostic open model to Australia, and it was very early at the time. And so we spent a lot of time with market education and helping our first customers really see the value in the proposition. Um, and we focused on residential buildings to start with this courier open model, where we had our systems next to mailboxes. Basically, there's a place to put the mail, so why not the parcels? But being new here, it was hard for consumers to part with their money, whether that was a residential building or whether that was a commercial office tower, without seeing the benefits demonstrated. So as with any new startup, new idea where the value proposition isn't really clearly defined, it takes a while to get those first customers to really scale up. But interestingly, over time, many of our customers are our portfolio customers. They're repeat customers. They're people expanding their system sizes. So now that we've been around for about 4 years now, we're definitely seeing the value proposition very clearly established.
What makes your product and business proposal interesting, at least for me, is that because you are agnostic for the carriers, you are not related to any specific carrier. You have also created very many different verticals on
Correct.
top of the parcel lockers, so that the customers can utilize lockers not only for the last mile and first mile delivery, but also other everyday services you have. So tell me a
That's
little bit
right.
about that verticals you have.
Sure. Sure, that's right. So we started in the residential space. There's the product market fit there is excellent. We're solving a clear need, whether we're solving for a homeowners corporation, so an apartment that's filled with owners, or whether we're solving what we call the build to rent model, which is popular in the UK and the US, where there's one asset owner and there's just lots of renters. Um, so we solve for both of those. We do have commercial office towers and also individual commercial tenancies that use our system. And we've added to it. So as we've done that, we've been able to work with Australia Post, and we have solution for mail, for bundled mail. We're able to keep the couriers from going up and down, visiting every floor of a 60-story building just to deliver mail, which is incredibly time consuming and obviously really isn't favorable from a sustainability perspective. Um, and each one of those sectors has a different value proposition. Why would you bring the solution in? And it just depends which one you're looking at. So if you're talking about a build to rent where they have a concierge service, we basically automate the parcel so that concierge service can either be reduced or spent doing something else that's actually more beneficial. With the commercial office, we create a lot of delivery efficiency, but we're also clearing loading bays, making sure carriers aren't in lifts going up and down the building, and and reducing wear and tear on the building. So there are a lot of benefits, but they are sector specific. But look, it's such a good fit. There's no reason for humans to be managing parcels at the delivery point. It's really purpose built for an autonomous handover of anything. And to your point, we encourage our customers, and we've got some of our best ideas from customers about other things they can do with the lockers, whether that's a dry cleaning service, whether that's bringing in food deliveries. We have equipment exchange. So some customers will say, well, I'm going to leave a book in here for somebody, or I'm going to leave an iron. Maybe they're at a student accommodation. So there are a lot of things that you can do where people don't have to come together to make a handover. And the way we've structured our business model, we don't do that on a per item or a per parcel basis. And so we just encourage people to get the maximum utilization out of their system.
My next question is about your product or about your value proposition. What is the agnostic model that you are offering? What kind of benefits or what kind of cooperations does it involve for all of your stakeholders?
Well, that's a very good question because the private open network model is incredibly complicated. It has a lot of components that all have to come together to really deliver the value to the customer. So obviously, one is the lockers, and in our case, because we're going into a lot of beautiful new resi and commercial buildings, we have a really luxurious Italian designed locker that's produced for us. We also have to provide the software and the network and the automated monitoring, which is obviously a different skill set entirely for the team. That includes integrating with other smart building software. The third component that I think is critical in this type of model is the courier engagement and the courier relationship management. So if couriers won't use the lockers when they come to the building, you really don't have much of a solution. And that's something we've invested incredible amounts of time and energy into and been very well supported by the industry here. But it's an important part of the delivery of service. And then at the final end of it, the service itself. So we run 90 hours of customer support a week. So every so often something happens, someone calls, maybe their locker was empty. And when a customer has something that's unusual, it does need to be resolved. So we carry that customer experience from end to end. And I think that's something that really makes us especially unique in doing this.
So you are pretty much sort of a software and product development company, not so much logistics company.
Correct. That's right. That's right. And what I say to people about us is, we don't have technology that, sends people to the moon or Mars, but what we are is a combination of technologies plus the change management piece and the service delivery piece that have to come together to actually create the value for the customer, what they expect. So if for example, we charge an upfront fee and an ongoing fee because the delivery of that service has real costs. Maybe sending SMSs, monitoring on an automated basis the locker network, solving problems in the field. And so for a business that's scaling up and is early, and now we're definitely scaling up quickly. It's a lot of pieces of business to get right to deliver value to the customer, and we feel like we've done that really well.
One thing that separates you from other operators is that you have very close cooperation with local architects, in a sense that you are incorporating lockers already into the new buildings. Tell me, how did you attract these people to cooperate with you?
That's a really good question, and it's never easy when you're a new business. You're two people in a garage or a kitchen. How do you get on the radar of some of the leading architects? And we certainly saw this early on when we identified the challenges of delivering a solution to an existing building, a legacy building. We said, this is actually a technology that needs to be built into every new building. And so we worked with a local firm here who made introductions to architects. We developed a CPD session, so an hour-long session about planning for mail and parcels in the modern building, which is fantastic. It's all about the delivery efficiency and sustainability, the life cycle costs of buildings, how to actually specify a solution in a given space for a given number of residents that will live there. So it's really quite comprehensive. And then we have a short form that we deliver in 15 minutes to architects having lunch and so on. But really, once we did that a time or two, and we have a lot of new buildings, I'd say probably 30 or 40% of our buildings are brand new. Once that happens and the architects come back and they see their projects and they see how they look and feel and how successful they are, we just hear from them again. They'll call us. So it's actually been a really good investment of time and energy. But as you can imagine, building some of these buildings, they take years. And so now we're specifying things in buildings that will go live in 26, even 27, that maybe they're in planning. So it's a really interesting relationship we have with them, and they too have supported us.
This is absolutely fabulous, in a sense that I would love to see the time where the parcel lockers are integrated naturally into the buildings, and they are not standalone metal boxes. So really appreciate what you are doing in that field. But when we talk about the future, what are your next steps or next dreams you are trying to implement with your company?
Oh, thanks. That's a really good question, and we're thinking about that all the time. So here on our little island of Australia with 25 million people, we think we're about 5 years behind Europe and the US and other major markets where out-of-home deliveries have really been embraced. We also see that sustainability is really front of mind for our consumers here. So they're making every purchase decision based on the sustainable option. EVs are going crazy. We're one of the largest users of solar panels globally. Like, all that stuff is really happening here. But the challenge is that the consumer and the commercial buyers, or the business and consumer buyers, they don't really make the connection between sustainability and last mile delivery. So one of the things we really need to spend time and energy on is making that connection, so that when people look at their projects, if it's a new building project, if they look at their residential apartments with their neighbors, they say, this is an opportunity for us to build a more sustainable building, or make our existing building reduce congestion and have less of a carbon footprint. And so we're really going to spend some time in that messaging. And meanwhile, the natural part of our business is already growing organically as people see the benefits, and they understand the value propositions or apart from sustainability. So we think between our organic growth and our really focus on the rationale for putting in a system like this, that will be in a very very good place in Australia. So we're just at that point of the curve where it's really starting to tick up. I think we call it the hockey stick in the in the startup world. But we've done a good job of that, but we will continue to invest on that front and continue to deliver an excellent product and service to the market.
So it's really fascinating story and business you are developing there, Lauren. Thank you so much for your this interview and this insight you gave us what you are doing, and I really wish you good luck in your business and hopefully see you soon.
Thanks very much. Really appreciate the opportunity.